Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
The end of the world? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
But how can a princess locked away in a basement end the world?
Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you.
Do you have any evidence to back this up?
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
Have you considered that maybe the only reason she's going to end the world is because she's locked up?
While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
Killing a princess seems kind of bad though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
Can someone else do this?
Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did.
Look, I'll go to the cabin and I'll talk to her. And if she's as bad as you say she is, then maybe I'll slay her. But I'm not committing to anything until I've had the chance to meet her face to face.
Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Hi?
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
What? No way. Why would you even think that?
That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at knife point? We should drop it.
Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. Are you serious? As internal bleeding sets in, the blade falls from your trembling hands, clattering to the ground uselessly. You lacked the will to finish the job, your bruised and broken body falling to its knees before her. The princess, exhausted, chest heaving with heavy breaths, tosses the blade away from you.
This is the end, isn't it?
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She plants her foot on your chest and pushes you onto your back, the air leaving your lungs in a heavy puff. And then she brings her knee to your throat. She leans into it with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess, shattering your windpipe and leaving you starved for breath.
It's too bad. I was looking forward to some company.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2. The Tower.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Wait, hasn't this already happened?
It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her, but slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all of this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Of course we died. She didn't feel pain. She didn't feel much of anything, did she? And she broke every bone in our body before she decided to let us die. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? It's pointless. She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? We might as well just walk up to that cabin, break her chains and let her do whatever she wants. It's all the same in the end. Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree, if she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be. If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here. The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small.
You didn't say anything about the mirror on the wall.
That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the altar, the blade sitting on the altar, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. Who cares if there's a mirror? We're all going to die anyway. And I'm sure that if we looked in there, we'd just see something sad and miserable looking back at us. We don't need any reminders of what we are. It would only make things worse. For the last time, you're not going to die unless you let it happen. And luckily for you, there isn't a mirror, so no one needs to worry about confronting a grisly visage any time in the near future. Though, for what it's worth, if there were a mirror, I'm sure that you wouldn't find anything sad or miserable in it looking back at you. You probably look perfectly normal. Probably. Do you not know what we look like? He knows. He just doesn't have the heart to tell us.
I care about whether I'm being lied to. There's a mirror.
As do I. And yeah, there is. I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done.
This whole cabin is different than last time.
Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase, its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease. This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor. But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade. Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel.
No.
Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you tried to kill me. And here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
Do you think holding shut your beak is enough to stop me from prying it open? Do you think your skull can save your thoughts from being seen? You're less broken than I thought. Perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants. No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand.
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway. You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To defy me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this. Oh, we'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. No, you can't just slay yourself. You're perfectly healthy and capable, and all you have to do is ignore her and do what has to be done. The blade and the hand that wields it remain firmly locked in place until you change your mind and decide to do literally anything else.
Look at you quaking against my will. An ant defying a god. It's pointless to resist. In the end, everything submits to oblivion. But you're not the one resisting me, are you? There's something else in there. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What are you talking about?
I don't care what you are. You're mine.
Ah! You bring the blade to your neck. You slice through soft flesh, severing veins and arteries, your blood flowing freely down your body. It's a painful lesson in obedience, but the pain won't last forever. No.
When I see you again, you'll free me from my chains and deliver me to the destiny that lies beyond this place.
We will. I promise.
I know you will.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3 The Apotheosis.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path,
Oh, let me guess. At the end of that path is a cabin.
Excuse me? This is the third time we've been here, and this is hardly a path in the woods. It's all big and weird.
Another witness to her radiance. Her hour is soon upon us.
I'm here to keep him in check. I'm sick of prying fingers digging around in our head, and he's making it all too easy for them to get in. This is bad.
Oh, is it now? I hadn't noticed. Do you need a primer, Mr. Amnesiac?
No, I'm quite all right, but if all of you would take a moment to settle down, there's something important I'd like to get across to you before it's too late.
Is it about the princess? We already know all about the princess.
Not to be trusted, that one. No, I mean, yes, it's about the princess, but whatever you think I'm going to say, it's probably not that. You're not to be trusted either.
Look, fine, just out with it already, yeah? But if I hear the words, "You're here to slay her," or "If you don't, it will be the end of the world," you've lost speaking privileges.
You two are just wasting your time. It's all going to end when we open that cabin door, which means it's already all over. What's the point of dawdling when the end is already written?
Okay, that nonsense he's going on about, that's what we need to talk about. You've been here before, obviously.
So you have met us. Because boy, were you in denial about that last time.
No, I haven't met you, but reality is clearly falling apart at the moment, and the only reason that would happen is if you knew things you weren't supposed to know. What? What the hell are you talking about? He's talking about those weird marble trees and how wrong everything looks. Yes, exactly. Whatever you did before gave her far too much power. So you've got to cut it out, get to that cabin and slay her before things get any more out of hand.
We've built a new god, and she is limitless.
What are our thoughts doing that? Make her small, make her small, make her small, make her small. Shit! What if I'm doing it wrong? What if I'm making her even stronger? Do you hear those two, with their runaway thoughts? I'm only giving you the sliver of information I'm giving you now because things are already deep in the shitter. This was my last card to play, and it looks like it's already made things worse, so hurry. Cabin. Now.
Okay, now hold on. I have so many questions.
And right now you have neither the time nor the mental acuity to handle a single response. It's now or never.
I'm not going to the cabin until I have answers. What am I?
As you finish your inane question, the ground quakes beneath your feet. You feel an unyielding force pulling at you and your surroundings. The trees start to sway and then crumble, breaking apart as everything is drawn towards the cabin. Even the earth beneath you seems to shift, your feet unable to grip solid ground as you're dragged forward along with everything else.
The end of everything. The beginning of something new. The moment we open that door, she will be free.
Stop believing everything you hear. We just have to get our thoughts in order. We just have to think straight.
Any, words of warning?
You already know everything you need to know. As you step forward, the cabin explodes. Flung backwards, violently slamming into a tree as debris rains down around you. You watch in paralyzed awe and terror as the princess emerges, her body unfurling from some vast space as she stands upright to face you. The world bows to her. The ruined landscape shifts, trees and stone and the ground itself succumbing to her gravity, orbiting her like a great black hole.
Finally, the little bird has set me free. This is always how it was going to end, and this is always how it was going to begin.
There's a loud thunk from the tree behind you as something embeds in its shattered bark. Your pristine blade. It's now or never. Yeah, screw all of this, I'm with you. A real god wouldn't need us as part of her plan.
You'll never make it to her. And even if you do, what could you possibly hope to accomplish?
We'll do what we were always supposed to. We'll take this blade and we'll sink it into her heart.
Look at the way everything's being flung around her. If we just throw ourselves in her direction... I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe none of this is real. Maybe we can do whatever we want to do.
With a forceful tug, you yank the blade out from the tree. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, and for a moment you can feel everything around you, like you're a part of everything, and everything is a part of you. And then your eyes open, settling on your target. It's time. You launch yourself towards the princess. You can feel her gravity envelop you, carrying you from the ground into the violent swirl of her orbit.
Even now you defy me. Do it then. Show me what you think it takes to end what's destined to end everything.
Yeah, do it. Show her.
Why do I feel so cold?
You do not get the chance to slay her. Something has taken her away, and it's left something else in her place.
No. Where did she go?
She's gone. Is this the end of the world? Did she end herself?
And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
I don't know where she went, and I don't know how we'd even go about looking for her.
You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. I should feel better with her gone. But I don't. I feel anxious. Does anyone else feel anxious?
The narrator is gone.
He is. Does that mean the world ended?
Yeah, no voice needling us anymore. Feels good, but I also feel itchy. Cold.
Figures the world would end and leave us with all this nothing.
I think I'm supposed to look at the mirror.
There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. It's calling us. And not in a good way. I don't want to look at us. I'm begging you, don't do this.
The mirror never scared you before.
It's different now. It feels... I don't know. Final.
You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it. It's you. You are alone in a place that is empty. It is quiet here. You are at the cabin.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel.
What are you?
I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you?
Solitary lights? What do you mean?
Thoughts without connections. A dim and nascent network. I wish to be more.
What do you think I am?
I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks.
The gift of a fragile vessel?
Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is dominance, a figure capable of bending everything to her will. She will make for a terrifying and divine heart.
Do not mourn her, for she would not be able to mourn you.
Is this the end of the world?
How can the world have ended if we are talking?
Do you know the narrator?
You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us.
Are you what sent me to slay the princess? Are you what trapped me here?
I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free.
Do you know about the words beyond this place?
I know only that they are.
Are you the princess?
She is part of me, and part of me is her.
But were you always the princess, or are you making her a part of yourself?
You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends?
Let her out of there.
I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed. This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt.
Do we know each other?
You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you.
What happens now?
Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom.
Aren't you scared that I'll find a way to kill you?
I have not lived. I am not afraid to die.
How much will I forget?
Everything, until we meet again.
How many more pieces of you do I have to find?
More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home.
And what if I don't let you do this to me?
Then we will be here forever, as we are now. Unfinished, dry, hollow.
I was sent to slay the princess to stop her from destroying the world. If I help you, is that what you're going to do?
You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold.
You are being semantic. What are you going to do if I help you?
How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated.
I'm not going back.
If you need time, then I'll wait with you. You are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the images of you and I into a box for safekeeping? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can no longer bear the weight of its hand-drawn cage? You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side until you're ready to return to mine. You have returned to me. Though you were gone mere moments, I never left your side.
Okay, make me forget.
She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
Everything goes dark. and you die. Chapter 1: The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Just checking in on you.
Oh, it's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
What? No way. Why would you even think that?
That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at knife point? We should drop it.
Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. You and the princess stare at each other, both gasping for breath, equally exhausted. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure that she won't make it out of here, either. Excuse me? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish the job. The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow, but you push through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you fall to the floor.
This was fun.
The princess gasps, her voice an unhealthy rasp as her lungs start to fill with blood.
You put up more of a fight than I thought you would. But I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2: The Adversary.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
But I already slew the princess. Sure, she also killed me, but I definitely got her. Why am I here again?
I can assure you that you didn't slay her and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. That's fine. It doesn't matter if he can hear us. The only thing that matters is marching up to that cabin and winning. That's the spirit. There's no point in squabbling when the real threat is just up that hill.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all of this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me.
We did our best with the information we were given, and we did kill her.
And yet you still died, didn't you? So congratulations, you've been given another chance to actually do this right.
And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything?
If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences.
What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We killed the princess killed us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me.
Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? Had you failed to slay the princess, what would have happened to everyone in the place you left? Ugh, enough with the talking. We've got a fight to win. Nothing else matters. I couldn't agree more. The cabin and your destined confrontation with the princess awaits. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Lying and cheating doesn't sound like her at all. Not that it matters. It's not like she can lie or cheat in the middle of a fight. Are you sure about that? The point of my warning wasn't to start an argument over what circumstances the princess is capable of lying in. It was to give you some broadly applicable advice. The princess will do and say whatever she thinks it will take to get her out of there. So don't trust her. Ever. Are we clear? Crystal, let's just get on with it already. The cabin is tighter than its exterior would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. See? Even the cabin has the right idea. Let's get moving. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
But there was a mirror a second ago.
And now it's gone, so all of us can stop arguing about it and get to fighting. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
This whole cabin is different than last time.
Very different. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. The world is depending on you. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulfuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally. It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening. Good. Sounds like my kind of princess. As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall.
It looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I'd been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. And you brought your little knife, too. Yes. I'm going to have fun breaking you into little pieces.
Good. With a singular focus, you launch off the wet stone floor of the basement and catapult yourself headlong towards the princess.
Here we go. Let's make this count.
Oh, we'll make it count, all right. You can feel flesh give way before a sudden impact blunts your momentum, your weapon tightly lodged in the bone of her arm. She grins at you from behind her guard.
Pull it out. We'll try a different angle.
No, we can do this. Just keep pushing.
We're not gonna win if our weapon's stuck in her arm.
The princess's grin widens as the two of you push against each other, her fiery eyes and masochistic glee practically lighting up the dreary cave.
Yes, you get it, don't you?
I do.
Nothing exists outside of us. It's just you and me, dying and coming back, clashing against each other. Forever.
That's not what's going on. There's an entire world at stake here. Yes, the fate of the world doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this fight. The only thing that matters is getting stronger. And the only way to get stronger is to win, even if it takes us forever to get there. Your balance is suddenly thrown off as the princess pulls you into her knee. It collides with your ribs, and you feel them splinter, cracking like wet wood from the impact. As she strikes you again, you hear the whine of straining metal, and then a snap. It would appear that she's loose. we're fine. But you barely have enough time to notice before the princess follows up and smashes her forehead against yours. Your grip loosens from the impact, the blade still wedged in her arm as you tumble to the cold stone floor. I said we're fine. I didn't say you weren't fine. I was just describing what happened. You might not have said as much, but you certainly implied it. It really doesn't matter. The princess glances down at the blade embedded in her arm, and with near total ignorance to pain, slides it out of its sinewy prison.
You forgot this.
She tosses it at your feet. You and the princess attack each other once again, each of you dealing a single, terrible, lethal blow. Wait, does that mean we're dead? Or rather, about to be dead. As your blade pierces her sternum, the princess buries her fist into the soft meat of your organs. You feel a few horrifically painful pops, a gush of fluid, and it's over. It's finally over. No, it's not. We're just getting started. But it is over. Dead is dead. I know this isn't the happiest ending for you, but you saved the entire world from ruin. There are few better endings than that. Well, are you going to listen to him? Or are you going to listen to me? Get up. Wait, no, that can't be right. Your eyes bolt open and you push yourself back to your feet. Alive. Ha! I told you this wasn't over. What about her? The blade went right through her heart. What about her? If we're fine, then she's fine. No, she's dead. She has to be... No! Right. We're all shit out of luck, aren't we? I knew it. I told you we should all believe in her. This is perfect. The princess rises from the ground, staggering slightly, one hand wrapped around the hilt of the blade still buried in her heart.
We don't even need to start over anymore, do we? Let's go again.
She pulls the weapon from her chest, barely wincing, and hurls it at your feet. You know what to do. Again! But she came back. What's the point of fighting her if she can just do that? All of you need to settle down. This whole situation is coming dangerously close to untethering. She clearly never actually died. You just missed her heart, that's all. Oh, we just missed her heart? Oh, of course, that's all. You were the one who said we hit her heart. You were the one who said it was finally over. Well, I guess I had it wrong. You guess you had it wrong? Aren't you supposed to know everything? I never said I knew everything.
Close to untethering? What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It means nothing. I shouldn't have said that. But you did say it, so it means something. Oh, stop bickering over nothing. Our destiny is right in front of us. Pick up the blade and go to her. Okay, fine. That is what I meant by untethering. Do you hear him rambling on about destiny? He's lost the thread, and if you lose the thread, you won't be able to save the world. And what is that supposed to mean? I don't have to answer that, and I'm not going to answer that. Why the bloody hell not? Because right now, there's still a razor-thin chance that you're able to get your act together. There are patterns of thought out there that beg to be finished, but once you finish them, that's it. They change everything. There's no going back, and if I say anything else, you're going to finish one of those thoughts. What?
The princess can't die.
Yes, exactly. Like, the princess can't die. I tried, you know. I tried very hard to make this work. I don't like that resignation. Are you sure we can't just unthink it? Yes, like I said, I'm afraid some thoughts can't be unthought. I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to pour myself a stiff drink. If I'm going to see the end of everything, I'd rather not be sober. So I was right! Why are all of you so glum? This is perfect, isn't it? we get to experience greatness and battle and triumph forever.
Well, I think it was the stubborn one who said, your destiny awaits, right?
No, hold on. There has to be another way. What if we just leave her down here? What if we run away? What if we convince her not to end the world?
You can't reason with her. Ending the world is her fundamental nature. It's not a decision she can flip on and off. It is her.
And what exactly can't we leave her down here?
Because all it would do is stall the inevitable.
And what's wrong with stalling?
Oh, there's plenty wrong with stalling. The end is still the end, and I'd rather face mine head on.
Oh, you mopey ass. Why did you even ask us to slay her if it was going to end like this?
Because it didn't have to end like this. If you don't mind, I'd rather not spend everyone's last moments arguing with you.
It's time.
Yes, I suppose it is.
If we fight her forever, then maybe she can't end the world. Maybe everything can still work out.
I guess we'll just have to see how things play out.
Don't you get it? You don't have to shuffle your feet. What comes next is going to last forever.
With an unbreakable determination, you snatch the blade from the floor and stumble back to your feet. Both you and the princess quake with adrenaline as your eyes lock across the basement floor and share a knowing look. Free from hesitation, you close the distance, both you and the princess aiming to end each other. Your blade digs into her neck, grinding against her vertebrae as her fist connects with your body. The impact forces the air from your lungs, stars dancing in front of your eyes as you fail to keep your bearing. You both collapse to the ground before either of you has a chance to survey the damage.
And then we get up.
Yes. And then you get up.
That was a good one. More!
You and the princess exchange dozens of devastating blows. Sometimes you manage to strike first, and sometimes she tears through you before you have a chance to act. But more often than not, each of you fells the other in the same moment. And then you get up and do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
We're all still here. This is all gonna be okay. Isn't it? Isn't it?
What are you waiting for? I'm right here. Do you think this is...
What is this place?
Did we do this? Huh. I didn't think we had it in us. But I guess that stuck-up control freak was right.
It's the end of the world, isn't it? It's the end of everything.
Far from it. We're still here. And she's still here too.
The princess stumbles, and her body slumps.
I feel so tired.
You do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's going to be okay. Just trust me. We've been here before, and you always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
It's not the end. Whatever's on the other side is going to be nice.
Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you.
Maybe there'll be a good fight there. Maybe we'll find her again.
You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave. But you need to see what's in it. You've grown. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You are at the cabin.
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again.
Are you the same being as you were before? How much have you changed?
Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same.
What does it feel like to change like this?
Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward.
When this is all done, do you know what you want to do?
With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you.
When I go back, it's as if an invisible wall closes around me. Why can I not do the same things I've done before?
Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now, inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread.
You have been kinder to me than anyone else I've met. Thank you.
Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only thing I know that isn't me.
What do you want me to bring you next time?
Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. Do not worry. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets.
So you don't have any preferences on how you'd like to change or grow?
My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective and memory.
Do you have any thoughts on this vessel?
This one yearns to grow and struggle. Even now I feel a will pushing against mine, not realizing that we are one. She will make for a fierce heart. Do not mourn her. We will provide her with the growth she fought for.
What do you feel about me? These vessels I've been bringing you, I've hurt them.
The vessels are a weave of emotion at odds with themselves, but they are only perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence.
I'm ready to go back.
I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1: The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right?
She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
Hold on. Let's talk a bit first.
Okay.
What's your name?
Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess?
So is Princess your name?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
I don't know anything about you. For all I know, you're locked up down here for a reason.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
If I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating? Or drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
I was sent here to slay you. You're apparently supposed to end the world. But I wanted to see you for myself. I'm still not sure what to believe.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world?
What are you going to do if I let you out of here?
The princess hesitates before responding. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want to hear.
What I do doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here, and those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less.
Okay, I'm going to get you out of here. Don't make me regret this.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you, and you won't, I promise.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
And if there isn't a key, do you have any other ideas?
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
Hey, let me out of here.
Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground. Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
I'm not so sure.
Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got. Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees.
We can still turn this around.
Are you serious? As what's left of your blood pools around you on the cobblestone floor, the blade falls from your trembling hands and clatters uselessly against the ground. I suppose you simply lacked the will to finish the job. The princess, wounded but still alive, nervously jumps at the blade and kicks it far away from you before retreating into a dark corner of the room. Her shining eyes watch you from the darkness, unblinking and curious as you bleed out. We can only hope the wounds you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, they'll kill her before she can reach the outside world.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
This is the end, isn't it?
Before you can answer, everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2. The Beast.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
He's going to kill me again.
Again? People don't die twice. You haven't even met the princess, and I hardly think she'd be capable of killing someone as skilled and courageous as yourself.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. If he doesn't remember what happened, then something else must have trapped us here.
You're not trapped here. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, though the only sensible thing for you to do right now is march up to that cabin and slay the princess.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature?
I don't see why that matters. A lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered.
She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell.
That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously.
Maybe. The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone.
You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness. The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess. She is certainly not just a princess. You're not helping. It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you. And a little splinter clutched in trembling hands won't save you from me.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now. You lunge to the side, picking a direction on instinct. As you land, you're buffeted by a gust of air, disturbed by the sudden motion of a massive body. The princess. In an instant, she's pounced on the spot where you would have been, her chains rattling across the floor behind her. Before you can blink, she's gone, vanishing once more into the shadows. But you still feel her gaze on you.
You're faster than you were before, but you're still meek, reactive, prey.
You whirl around to find her, and your gaze meets hers, a pair of shining eyes peering out at you from just beyond the basement stairs. So she's cut off our escape. Shit, what do we do?
We don't have to kill each other. What if I helped you? What if we left together? If you could get out of here on your own, wouldn't you have already left?
You cannot reason your way out of this, fledgling. There's no compromise with what I am.
At least she's upfront about her intentions.
What do you want?
I want to swallow you whole, and I will get what I want. You have no exit. You have no hope. You live and die by my whims, and my whims alone.
Don't ask her what she wants, just slay her. Is that all the advice you have? We don't even know what she looks like. Some specifics would be very helpful. She's just a princess. Don't overthink it.
She is clearly not.
She's coiling for another strike. Be somewhere else. We're on the back foot. The back foot keeps us nimble, keeps us alive.
It doesn't matter if it keeps us alive if it eventually kills us. We need to take back the momentum. We need to do something.
This isn't going to work. We're in her domain. We just have to stay alive. If we keep dodging her forever, we're going to get tired. We're going to slip up. We have to take a risk. As the princess lunges from the shadows once more, you tighten her grip on the blade and lash out. It strikes, cutting deep, and the princess loses her focus, crying out in pained surprise as she crashes into you. You're sent sprawling, and can already feel the massive bruise blossoming on your ribs as she scrambles back into the darkness.
Ha! Look at that! We wounded her.
And she wounded us. Bad trade.
That hurt. Are you just the cornered animal you seem to be? Or could you be a rival?
She rears back, then leaps at you, more forceful, more ferocious, more serious. The scuffle is brief, and though you inflict a few deep wounds, you find yourself quickly overwhelmed by her savagery. You collapse to the floor, and she wastes no time before pouncing on you in a flurry of claws and blood, your nerves barely able to keep up with the onslaught. By the end, you're lying in a nest of your own intestines, spine severed, blood rapidly draining out onto the jungle floor. The princess, drenched in both her blood and yours, idly prods your body.
No, that's it then. Cornered animal it was. Do better next time. I still need to devour you. And it doesn't count if you're dead.
Well, we're not dead, we're... But you don't have time to protest her premature observation of your death, because everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3. The Den.
You're on a path in the Yeah, we are. And this time we're not gonna run until we die. We're taking her head on and we're winning. You felt her. She didn't have a soft underbelly. She didn't have blind spots. What could we have done that would have saved us from her hunger? When someone tries to make you dead, you have to hit them back. You have to show them your authority. There's nothing worse than a bully that thinks they own you. Great, so you've been here before. That doesn't bode well. You're not supposed to have been here before. This is supposed to be one and done. Oh, shut up. It bodes fine. You're the reason we're stuck in this shit situation, and now I have to do the hard work of dragging us out. And how do you intend to do that? We're going to fight her, and we're going to win. There's a reason she slinks around in the shadows. Well, no complaints here. Now hold on. We're not just gonna let the fact that he knows things about this whole Lupin situation go, are we? He's not important. He can have his secrets for all I care. She's killed us twice now, and that's enough of a reason for us to want her dead.
Okay, what's the plan?
Like I said, we're going to fight her.
But we're so small.
We don't actually know how big she is. We just know she wants us to think she's big. And if she's going to treat us like prey again, then she is sorely underestimating us. One good wallop, that's all we need to put her on the defensive.
I want answers. What is going on here? What do you know that you are not telling me?
I've told you as much as I can without putting you at a disadvantage. If anything, I've told you too much. Like that grumbling voice said just a moment ago, you've already died by her hands twice. You shouldn't need much else in the way of motivation.
The path is different than it was before.
Ground is ground. It doesn't matter what shape it takes. We'll adapt. If it looks different, that's because the situation has started to spiral out of everyone's control. So please, disavow yourself of the notion that you can just come back here and fix this place if you manage to make a mess before that line of thinking leaves you yet another world in ruin. Though, as evidenced by you dying twice, it's safe to assume the fates of the worlds you've left behind don't concern you very much. Consider this your last opportunity to make things right. For you and for the rest of existence. But especially for you. We don't need your pep talk. I'll make sure we pull this off. You make your way down to the cabin. Your fated confrontation awaits. You know what to do. We've already been over the plan. I'm not sure that use violence counts as a plan. It's a better plan than you had last time. I don't like this, but I'll try to keep us breathing. The interior is dark and overgrown. Vines and brush obscure so much of the place that, had you not seen the exterior, you might not have noticed this was a cabin at all. The only furniture of note, if you could call it that, is a knotted stump, a pristine blade embedded in its exposed rings. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. Take it. We're not fighting a monster without a blade. Even if it's not a very big one. Great. That mirror's back. And it's where the door is supposed to be. What are you talking about? There is no mirror. It's just the stump and a narrow tunnel that leads to the basement.
He isn't tricking us. Can you feel the wind? It's telling us there's a hole in that wall. Our eyes deceive us.
If that mirror's blocking our way, just smash it and be done with it.
Yes, take the steel claw.
You pull the blade from the stump, gripping it tight. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. One step closer to ending this.
You step forward, approaching the small hole that leads to the basement, hesitating before you enter the princess's lair.
You heard him. Stop hesitating and smash that antique.
That mirror isn't part of this place. It's seeped through from somewhere else.
It, if there even is an it, is a hallucination. Like you said, you've been here twice before. Your mind was bound to start playing tricks on you eventually. It went away after we reached out to it last time. Might as well try wiping it clean again. What's the harm?
You reach forward and wave your hand over the open hole leading to the basement. See? Nothing. Tricks of the eye. No one sense can be trusted on its own. You step forward into the darkness. If there were once stairs leading into the basement, there is nothing left to attest to their existence now. There is only a long tunnel of packed earth, growing more narrow as you descend. It smells of mold and decay. The damp walls leave streaks of dirt along your body as you're forced to hunch, then finally squat down on all fours in order to continue.
If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
As you crawl forward on hands and knees, you're met only with the sounds of ambient earth. No voice slinks confidently up the stairs, no entity threatens violence or pleads for safety. Stay quiet. Don't give her a sound. You say nothing, maintaining the silence as you carefully make your way down into the basement. The basement is dark and cavernous, a gaping maw threatening to swallow you whole. There is no light here, save for what little starlight has managed to filter down the tunnel. And though you can't see the vastness of the space, you can feel it. You're exposed.
It doesn't matter if we can't see down here. We know where she is.
You step into the shadows and are enveloped in total darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest, ears pricked, eyes wide despite the inky blackness, waiting for any sign of movement. There, she's about to strike.
With the near silence of a determined predator, the princess erupts from the shadows. Quickly, swinging your blade, its tip intercepting her before she can draw first blood. She recoils, stunned for a brief moment. See? I told you. We needed to assert our might. We needed to prove to her that she can bleed too. She'll doubt her every move now.
Even more ferocity than before. But that voice in your head wasn't wrong. Within that ferocity, there is also hesitation. Not much, but enough. Not a word is spoken between you and the princess as you exchange blows in the dark. The glint of bloody claws and fangs, the flash of wet steel. In the pit, all of your senses are heightened, each injury stinging like a chorus of insects, each small shift in your favor a major victory that swells your heart. Reaches a climax.
And...
But he doesn't respond. Eyes glance at you from the untextured threads of a world unraveled. Am I free? They ask. But you do not get a chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's going to be okay. Just trust me. We've been here before, and you always get scared.
but it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. That thing reeks of death.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
It's not the end. Whatever's on the other side is going to be nice.
Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you. I'd like to be somewhere nice.
Maybe there'll be a good fight there. Maybe we'll find her again.
You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave. But you need to see what's in it. You've withered. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You are at the cabin.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
You can't be a contradiction. Contradictions don't exist.
And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it.
How can you stand to be a contradiction?
As easily as you can stand to be you. You are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you that do not fit. Even if you have chosen to ignore the brilliant contours of your soul.
It doesn't matter how many times I go back. At least one of us always hurts the other. Doesn't that change you? Doesn't that make you worse?
It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me?
If anything, it makes me like you more. I don't know what that says about me.
It says that your heart is gentle, that even in the darkness you are guided by compassion.
What do you think of this vessel?
This one is consumed by instinct, a predator pushing those around her to adapt. She will make for a bold heart. She wishes me to devour you, to make you a part of myself, but she is only a voice. Do not mourn her, for she is part of something greater.
Have you figured out what you'll want when we've finished?
The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, my awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of self-knowledge.
Do you still not care what I bring you next?
I care about your gifts, but I have no preferences. You have your responsibilities, and I have mine.
So you don't have any preferences on how you'd like to change or grow?
The tides do not dictate where they are pulled. A river does not dictate its outlets. My gift to you is to let you choose your path, and my task is to contemplate the gifts you bring me.
How many more vessels do I need to bring you?
We will know when we near our destination.
I'm ready to go back.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Oh, okay. Thank you for telling me what to do.
Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Hi?
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Please, come downstairs.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
Hold on. Let's talk a bit first.
Okay.
I was sent here to slay you. You're apparently supposed to end the world. I'm starting to think it's true. There's something about you that doesn't feel right.
Would everything feel right about you if you were locked away in a hole by yourself for as long as you can remember?
Just how long has she been down here?
So, did they tell you why I'm supposed to be so dangerous?
I was hoping you'd tell me.
I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're getting at.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that, and I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
If I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating? Or drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant.
Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
I don't know anything about you. For all I know, you're locked up down here for a reason.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
I'm sorry, but I just can't trust you. This doesn't add up and isn't worth the risk to take your word over the potential fate of the world.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on retrieving the blade in the cabin.
You'll regret this. I promise you. But go ahead, run along and get whatever you're planning to get. But you'd better hope that I don't slip these chains before you make it back down here.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. She has to be bluffing, but hurry. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay, if we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall, and she is nowhere to be seen. Is it just me, or did this room get a lot bigger?
She's lost an arm. I'm locking her down there and letting her bleed out.
This is a dangerous play. Who's to say she'll actually succumb to her wounds? She doesn't have a weapon, and she's missing an arm. You can finish this right here, right now.
Tell you what, I'll even stay here for a while to make sure she's dead.
You close the basement door, locking it behind you and quickly barricading it with the heavy wooden table that once held the blade. Okay, we can make this work. She has an awful wound and we have all the time in the world. Playing jailkeeper for a while might make things a little easier. You settle in against the far wall to watch the basement door. It isn't long before you start to drift off, your eyelids heavy with fatigue. But sleep doesn't come. Instead, your rest is broken by a piercing, wailing voice calling out to you from the other side of the door.
I know you're still there. Why don't you make things easier on yourself and let me out? It's not like this little door will hold for very long anyways. And it's probably a good idea to try to get back on my good side.
She sounds terrifying. Like she's less of the princess you saw and more like something out of a nightmare. As she violently rattles the door, you do your best to shut her out of your mind.
When I get out of here, I'm going to pick you apart piece by piece. I won't forget what you did, and I'll never forgive it. You don't know the kind of enemy you've made tonight.
It doesn't sound like she's getting any weaker. No, it doesn't.
Whatever you are, you're not a princess. Go ahead and waste your energy. I'll be waiting for you.
I wouldn't be so sure about outlasting me. You're so brittle. So go ahead, rest, do whatever you think will help you be prepared. But know that I'm coming for you, and that when I find you, I will make you hurt.
You put the princess's threats out of your mind as best you can and huddle up against the wall. You jolt awake in the middle of the night to silence in the cabin. The ruckus has stopped, and the door to the basement is ajar, its lock broken, and the table shoved out of the way. Where is she?
Thanks for helping me get out of that awful basement.
You try and stumble to your feet, but as the princess draws near, it's as though your body simply stops working. It isn't all at once. The paralysis comes in waves. First your toes go numb, and then your feet, and then your legs. You lie prone on the floor of the cabin, unable to do anything but witness her approach.
Whose side are you on?
Yours, of course. But I have a duty to uphold the truth. Lying about the facts of the situation doesn't change them.
So helpless. I can take my time with you, can't I?
She steps closer, one silent footfall at a time, cocking her head in curiosity as you feel your organs shutting down one by one.
Or maybe I can't take my time with you. You don't look well. A little green around the gills. What a shame. If you'd only helped me get out of here, we could have done such wonderful things together.
Your lungs stop drawing in breath, and your heart freezes in your chest. You have seconds left.
I'd say better luck next time, but we both know this is the end, don't we?
It can't be. This can't actually be how everything ends.
I'm sorry, but it is. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2 The Nightmare.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Wait, hasn't this already happened?
It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it.
We've just met for the first time, you and I.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
Shh! What if he hears us?
That's a very good question, little voice. What if he does hear you?
Shit.
I think you'll find yourselves very hard-pressed to keep any secrets from me. Not that it matters right now, because like I said, this is the first time we've met. Still, I'd rather not get off on the wrong foot. We've a world to save, after all.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
I don't think lying and cheating is her thing. She was very direct with us last time. Or at least, she was direct with us after we decided to lock her away.
It doesn't matter. Don't trust anyone. The interior of the cabin is plain, the smooth wood of the walls almost featureless. The only furniture of note is a lone table, knocked on its side in the corner of the room. A pristine blade stands between you and the open, inviting basement doorway. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Hold on. What happened to the door? There was a door here last time. It's just an empty frame. She's already gotten out, hasn't she? And she's ready for us. She's been waiting. Can't you feel her eyes on us?
I'm going to need all of you to pull yourselves together. The princess has not already gotten out. But if you keep getting stuck in your head like this, you're going to struggle to get the job done. So deep breath in, deep breath out. Your task awaits, and only you can do it.
This whole cabin is different than I remembered it being.
Very different.
I'm not the only one who sees her in the window, right? She knows that we're here.
Calm down. Maybe the three of you just think everything is different because you haven't been here before. Enough of this past life nonsense. You haven't died, you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. A lot's riding on this. You walk up to the wall next to the empty basement door frame. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. Did he make it go away? Clearly there was something in there worth investigating if he wants it hidden so bad.
Oh, we should have taken the knife. don't think going down there unarmed is going to do us any favours.
You cross over the threshold and onto a series of isolated steps suspended in darkness.
More eyes, too. You never mention the eyes.
The air seeping up from below reminds you of fresh lightning and static, as if you're descending into a place that isn't meant for a creature of flesh and blood. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favour. Her cruel and playful voice prances up the stairs.
I didn't think you'd come back. We're gonna have a lot of fun, you and I.
Okay, we need a game plan. Last time we were here, just being close to her was enough to kill us.
I'm going to talk to her.
Didn't you hear my warning a minute ago? She can't be trusted. Talking won't do you any good.
Something tells me she isn't going to be very keen on talking anyway.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. As you emerge, you find yourself between two loose rows of white wooden planks suspended in nothingness. A smattering of cobblestones visible against the inky black of the basement mark where the floor should be, forming vague pathways. At what seems to be the end of the room, they diverge in opposite directions, left and right. She could be anywhere, and there's nowhere for us to hide. We're completely exposed.
Are you really not going to comment on how weird this place is?
No, I'm not. Somebody needs to be the voice of reason here, and it certainly isn't you.
Excuse me, I'm being incredibly reasonable. You're the one who's just matter-of-factly describing whatever the hell we're looking at like it's an ordinary basement. We're going to die down here. I don't want to die again.
Please stop saying that. You're only going to make things worse. Just pick a direction and start moving.
I wouldn't give it too much thought if I were you. It doesn't really matter, because either way you go, I'm going to find you.
You turn back to the stairs, only to find that they aren't there. A faintly outlined path lies before you.
There you are. I told you I was going to find you.
As the princess approaches, your legs suddenly go numb. Your arms quickly follow.
This is it, isn't it?
It's almost like you want me to get you.
There has to be a way out of this. Think!
What did you do? Pull yourself together. She isn't supposed to be like this.
I wonder how many times I'll get to play with you before you break.
Your vision cuts out as your blood begins to coagulate. It's as if every part of your being is coming to a lurching halt. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Your lungs pull in a desperate gulp of air as your eyes shoot back open. Lungs, liver.
What are you doing?
I'm working.
Do you want this body to function, or do you want...
And then experience stops once more as your body reapproaches death.
Okay, whatever you were doing, please just start doing it again.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that's what you want, or do you want to interrupt me some more? You have seconds left.
Yes, I'm sure.
Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Again, your eyes shoot open as you gasp for breath.
Can't decide what you want to do, can you?
Lungs, liver.
Oh well, standing there gasping like a fish is more fun than dead. Even if you look ridiculous.
She isn't attacking us. Lungs. Why? Liver. The why doesn't matter. She's already proven her ill intent. Liver. Don't lose sight of your mission. Heart.
And how are we supposed to do that? We don't have a weapon.
Nerves.
The way out of here is nowhere to be seen.
Lungs. That isn't my fault. Nerves. Heart.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is because fighting her isn't an option right now.
Then you should get looking, shouldn't you?
Liver.
You turn and run, doing your best to put one useless leg in front of the other.
Liver.
You poor, poor thing. Wrong choice.
Liver.
You get nowhere before the princess is in front of you once again.
You're always going to be a coward.
She raises a hand to her mask and pulls it down. You don't get the chance to see what lies beneath before it envelops you. Like a creeping mold, the complete reality of your existence threads its way through your mind. Birth, death, birth again, decay and bloom, a million stitches from a million microscopic wounds you've inflicted on everyone you've ever met, with every muscle you've moved and every word you've ever spoken.
No.
Let me out.
Your existence hurts them.
Let me out.
A lonely soul in a room by itself, weeping. It lives for 80 years and then it's gone. And then it's there again.
Let me out.
A reprieve. A good life. Love. Children. A steady career. Recognition from your peers. Here one moment. Gone the next. The worms have found their orifices.
Let me out.
Diagnosis. It forgets everything it is. Anger, rage, distance, poverty. The lonely soul is lonely again. Love turns to mockery. It dies. It is reborn. Worse. Lonelier.
Let me out.
No. What's happening to us?
Let me out.
This is all too much. I can't keep going.
You can't keep going? Well, what are you talking about?
But he doesn't respond.
Oops, I think I broke you. I'll see you soon. You'll know what to do.
Your body is dead, but you live on. The moment of clarity.
You're on a path in the... Shit! What the hell was that? Who are we? What are we doing?
There was a princess, I think. It's all so fuzzy. It hurts when I try to remember.
You shouldn't know about the princess. At least, not until I... You've already been here, haven't you?
I guess. It feels so long ago, almost like we've never left. We have to let her out.
No, that's the opposite of what you're here to do. You have to slay her. Slay? We decided not to do that, didn't we? Yeah, we're supposed to let her out. It's really the only way this works out for us. If you think about it, she's the one with power here. Nobody else can do much of anything. No, we were supposed to keep her trapped there forever, I think.
We're supposed to be unfeeling. How many times do I have to tell you to snuff out your heart? We can't be unfeeling. Not when there's so much fear everywhere.
There's nothing for us to do. We've already tried everything. We love her, so we have to set her free. Can we love something that hates us? Can we love something that hurts us? To be given an ounce of kindness from something so cruel would be more pure than any other love. Why are there so many of us? There aren't supposed to be so many of us. This is bad. You need to get a grip. What did you let happen? How many times have you been here?
I think they're all wrong.
Of course we're wrong.
She's the only thing that's right. Yes, obviously they're all wrong. What are you going to do about it?
Getting back to his earlier question, how many times have you all been here?
Many times. It feels like we've been here forever. it also feels like we've barely been here at all.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, we just have to do what she says and then everything will be fine. It won't. It will be for us. She said so. You're part of everything. If things aren't fine for everything, they won't be fine for you. There's no difference between fine and not fine, it just goes on and on.
But that doesn't make sense. I only remember being here twice before this, and some of you don't seem to remember being here at all. Was I here those other times? Did someone else make the decision?
What does here even mean if you really think about it? Shut up. You were here.
Every single time.
You did your best, really. There's just a pecking order. And our cruel and beautiful goddess sits atop it, right where she's always belonged.
You're lucky. What I would give to be able to forget. I've tried to keep them numb, but they're all too soft. A shame, really.
If I don't remember what I did, then it couldn't have been me that did it.
Don't think about that too hard. All it will do is weaken your resolve and make it that much harder for you to slay her.
Maybe you're shattered in your own way.
Are you your memories? Or are you the one perceiving the present moment? Ugh, here you go philosophizing again. It never goes anywhere. Yes, this is far from the first time you've asked us about consciousness. Who am I? What am I? What is I? Who even cares? They're good questions, great questions even, but they don't have any answers. And they all just end in quivering torment. It doesn't matter what we do, because we always find her, and if we don't find her, she always finds us.
And then she smashes us into smaller pieces. If you all just stopped feeling, we could have been done with this ages ago.
Your thoughts are far too scattered to rein back in. Your only option is to silence them.
Can you make sense of them?
There's nothing worth making sense of. They're clearly all traumatized. And yet, you aren't. We break apart, and you stay the same. Yeah, what's your secret? Why can you break the rules when we can't? You slowly make your way through the umbral forest, bumping against unseen trees as you grasp through the darkness for a way forward. But eventually, you do make it to the cabin. Or rather, you make it to the place a cabin should have been. Instead, all you find is an empty hill. No, this isn't right. There's a cabin there. There's always supposed to be a cabin there. Don't ask him about the mirror. He always says he never sees it. He always lies. And he always makes it gone. Stay focused. You still have a job to do, and it's best not to be distracted by fraying thoughts. There is no mirror. You know that as well as I do.
She's still here, buried deep inside the earth. Just walk up the hill. You always give too much space to the others. It's why you always lose.
And what's wrong with giving them space? What if it helps them? What if they need to be heard?
They've been hurt too much. It's why they are the way they are.
Exactly. They are delusions, and all that catering to them will do is drag you down to their level. You have to keep moving. Or you could just give up. You walk up the hill, hesitating just beyond the bounds of the cabin. The cabin that isn't there. You've got to clean the mirror, haven't you? You've got to see what's in it. Smash it to pieces.
She's on the other side, and we have to let her out. It's the only way we can be free.
It's the only way we can have our thoughts back. Just go around it.
Just do something. It doesn't matter what.
Proceed. Proceed to where? I'm afraid you're going to have to be a little more specific. That's a new one. Do you think it'll work? Of course it'll work. He always makes the best decisions. It's why he gets to make them.
And it already has worked. It's gone, don't you see? We're one step closer to her.
The interior of the cabin is much the same as the exterior of the cabin. A dull, fuzzy, dreamlike nothing. It's empty and isolating, but there's just enough vague shape and unknown texture to suggest the structure they're in. Wrong and unsettling as it may be, the only object of note is a pristine blade buried in the dirt floor, a hint of its shining edge teasing through the sediment. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right.
Take it. It's the only way forward.
You reach down to take the blade, but as you do, the ground beneath it shifts, the weapon sinking deep into the earth. You lean over the hole and gaze into the abyss. It is so very deep. Deep in the bowels of the earth, you see something staring back at you. It fills you with dread. It's her. She's watching us. She never stops watching us.
There you are. My toy has finally come to finish his job.
With every word she speaks, the princess in the pit blinks closer.
You kept this up for so much longer than you had to.
Closer
But it was always just a matter of time.
and closer.
You are going to have to stop running eventually.
And closer.
Everything stops running eventually. Except for me. I've already taken your will, and you're not getting it back. All that's left is for you to take my will and let me out. It'll be so much fun, you and me, together, exploring the world and spreading fear wherever we go. Well, mostly just me, but you'll get to be there too. A witness. I can even make you a little cage if you want. Gilded and everything.
Do something. Do anything that isn't taking her hand. You extend your hand to hers. For all her past cruelties, the moment feels gentle, tender even. I can't believe you just made me say that. I hate you. The motion is difficult at first, as if something still resists your efforts. But then that resistance gives way, and it's over.
And that's the end. I wonder what we're going to do next.
I didn't think I'd be so tired.
The princess, exhausted, slumps.
Why is it so cold?
You do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone.
Yeah. I can finally think again. Almost. That mirror's back. What does that mean for us? I'm sure it'll be whisked away just like her.
Maybe it won't be gone. Things are different now, aren't they? Doesn't seem like there's much else to do here.
Finally, we can smash it.
Oh, will you stop with the smashing?
What do we say, boys? One last vain attempt to look at ourselves.
Yeah. I think I'd like that.
Seems we've got a majority. All that's left is to give it a look.
You step towards the mirror once more. Its secrets remain hidden, its mysteries remain unresolved.
Something tells me that this is the end of the line. But I don't feel bad about it. I'm ready. It feels okay. The fear's gone. I'm done fighting. My heart feels quiet. The game was always going to end.
I'll be free of all of you. I'm ready for the truth. I'm ready to sleep.
I'm just ready to be anywhere that isn't here.
Boys, it's been an honor.
Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've unraveled. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You are at the cabin.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. I am curious to see what it means for us to know it.
Do you think there are people there?
It doesn't matter if there are. People are frail and impermanent. You and I are the only things that interest me.
Do you think that anything is real out there? Do you think that we are real?
We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something. But nothing cannot exist on its own. And because of that, nothing can't exist.
Do you have thoughts on this vessel?
This one is filled with sadness. A doll, abandoned to the company of her darkest impulses. She desires only companionship, but the only thing she knows is how to hurt. She will make for a tender heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally found her way home.
Do you know what's going to happen when you awaken?
No. The point of awakening is to find out.
When you send me back, I'm not alone. There are voices that speak to me. Some of them are me, but one of them is something else. I call him the narrator, and he wants me to kill you. Do you have a narrator? Have the vessels had one?
No. Their minds are empty, existent, but constantly shifting into something new. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond?
He does. I don't know what I'm going to do when I find him.
There's no need for you to know what you are going to do before you do it. If you find him, remember that I'll be waiting for you on the other side.
How many more vessels do I need to bring you?
One. Whatever you bring me next will be enough, and then gravity will pull the others back to me. I will be singular, a final multitude.
If this is the last time, is there anything you would like me to bring you?
These gifts are a conversation, and each one shows me the contours of your heart. The only thing I want to see is what you choose for me when the thread is fully drawn.
I'm ready to go back.
The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1: The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
I'm here to save you.
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever.
I see. You're trying to get her to lower her guard. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
You were lying when you said you were here to rescue her, but regardless of your intentions, breaking her out of those chains would be a big mistake. Don't even try it.
I'll see what I can do.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key is still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can find something to break you free.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Is someone else here?
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground. Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us.
It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
I'm not so sure.
Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got. Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees.
We can still turn this around.
You steel your resolve and take another step closer to the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can still make sure that she won't make it out of here either.
Excuse me? What's this about not making it out of here alive?
Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone in this room is still standing right now. Don't act so surprised. Can you not feel all those gashes and holes pulling you apart? If the princess doesn't do you in here, blood loss is certain to finish the job. You take another step forward, and the princess lunges towards you. The two of you enter one last exchange, a flurry of blade and claw and fleshy ribbons, and then you stop. Neither you nor princess able to go any further. You collapse on the ground, and the princess collapses beside you. Blood pools around you both, and you watch each other fade away.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Silence as the room starts to get fuzzy around you. You've paid a terrible price, but you've saved us all. It's over.
If you think this is it, you're sorely mistaken. One way or another, I'll make sure you pay for this.
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2: The Witch.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Don't worry, you can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. You take the blade from the shelf. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Well, if we're grabbing a weapon, we should probably keep it hidden behind our backs. She doesn't have to know we have it. That's not actually a bad idea. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite.
Hello?
I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, one hand tucked away behind your back, gripping that sharp, sharp blade, no doubt.
That's no fair. How would she know that?
So, we've dropped the pretenses. Good.
She's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. Do you remember us then? Do you remember last time? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Sorry about last time.
Ooh, smart. Let's apologize. Get us back on the right foot.
Oh, you're sorry. Isn't that nice? You're such a gracious little monster. If you're sorry, then let me out of here. Prove it.
Don't worry, the blade isn't for you. Or not for killing you. We've got to get you out somehow, right?
Oh, I don't need you to cut me out.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
I don't want to hurt you, but clearly there's some broken trust. Take this as a gesture of my goodwill.
You can't be serious. Now, hold on. We should put this to a vote. The blade is one of our most valuable assets. We can't just give it to her. What if she uses it to kill us? I vote no. As do I. I abstain? You abstain? She's going to kill us if we give it to her.
This isn't a democracy. We're giving her the blade.
You're going to get everyone killed, you know that, right? But of course you do. You toss the blade at the princess's feet. She eyes it with suspicion before kneeling down to pick it up.
I wouldn't have done that. Why did you?
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face.
What do you think happens now?
That's up to you. It's why I gave you the blade. I chose last time and I regret it. So now it's your time to choose.
Her shoulders tense and her eyes dart away.
This is another trick. You're trying to sow doubt, but it's not going to work on me.
And then she buries the blade in your heart. What? No, come on, that's not right. I told you this is what she was going to do. Glee dances across her face as you fall to the ground.
I did it. I got you. You...
The princess seems to tremble, her smile fading quickly, replaced with concern. Her nervous eyes brim with tears.
Why? Why did you let me do this?
But you don't have the strength to respond, nor do you have the time. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3. The Thorn.
You're on a path in the woods. She stabbed us. She actually stabbed us. Of course she stabbed us. We gave her the blade, which, I might add, I voted against. But the whole point was that she wasn't supposed to do that. The whole point of giving her the blade was to break the cycle of violence, and she just killed us anyway. I guess it really doesn't matter if she killed us though, right? We're back here, which means that everything's fine, or fine adjacent. Maybe she won't be as keen to betray us this time. We've already proven to her that we can change. Maybe that's all it'll take to show her that there's another way to do things. You know, maybe you're right. In which case, I suppose the only thing to do is to get back to the cabin and give it another try. Give what another try exactly? You are aware I've been listening to you, right? Like that changes anything. We all know the game is rigged. It doesn't even matter if she's nice this time. I'm sure he'll find a way to turn us against each other. Great, so you've obviously been here before, since you apparently died at least once. Twice, actually. Sure. Twice. Then I'll spare you the little introduction I had planned. You already know about the princess, and clearly you already know that she's dangerous. So don't muck this up. It's bad enough that this isn't your first time through.
This place is different. It keeps changing.
Wonderful. If the woods themselves are changing, then that's all the more reason for you to take this seriously. It would mean your grip on things is slipping, which, in turn, likely means her influence is spreading. Someone's in the know. I've had enough of these annoying little secrets. If you want us to do this, you have to let us in on your game already. All of your game. I've already said too much. The more information you have, the more difficult your task will be. Don't listen to her, definitely don't free her, and if you can, don't even think about her.
We are going to free her.
Please don't. I'm with him. If our previous encounters have taught us anything, it's that freeing her is a bad idea. Let's just see how the wind blows. I'm not opposed to saving her, but let's not rule anything out just yet. Let's see what she has to say. Stop sitting on the fence and pick a side already. We don't need you waffling when things get hairy. I've already picked a side. Our side. I'm here to make sure that whatever happens, we wind up on top. Because that's worked out great so far. Well, we're not out of the game yet, are we? And again, I'll have you know, I wouldn't have gotten us killed last time. I wanted to stab her in the back, not hand over our precious backstabbing implement.
You sure seem to be taking the whole looping thing in stride.
What do you want me to say? It's bad that you've been here before. It's bad for you, it's bad for me, and it's especially bad for the world. The more times you run through this, the more likely it is that you'll fail. You've already failed twice. So you knew this could happen? Theoretically, sure, I knew this could happen, but I was supposed to be the first. I'd really rather not get into it. Great! Not even he really seems to get what's going on. If the guy who goes around acting like he knows all the rules doesn't even know how this works, what's the point in listening? Then we can all move on and forget what I said about failure. It's important that you believe in yourself, and the fact you're here probably means that you still have a chance to pull this off and save the world. My world, at least. It sounds like you've probably doomed a couple of others already. I need to stop talking. Think happy thoughts.
No matter what happens next, it seems all our answers are in the cabin. Let's see this through.
It isn't long before you find yourself at the base of the cabin. I think it's clear where everyone stands at this point. I don't know if I'd say everyone. You talking about me? I have a position. It's a good one too. Ignore him, he's just talking for talking's sake. My position is the only one that matters. You know what you have to do. The interior of the cabin is hardly an interior at all anymore. The burned-out ruins merely suggest the shape of the structure that once stood here, charred wood still reeking of ash. But beneath it lies the fresh smell of spring growth after rain, the promise of new life in the wreckage of the old. The only furniture of note is the crisp shell of what was once a table, a pristine... Wait, this isn't right. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Why isn't there a pristine blade? We gave it to her last time. She can't still have it, can she? Well, it's not here, and if she has it... Let me guess, you want to get all chummy with her. Look, as far as I see it, if it's between him and her, I say we side with the one who has the weapon. It's just the smart thing to do. I wouldn't be so hasty. I'm sure the blade will turn up somewhere. She can't have it. That's not how this is supposed to work. Of course we don't get to make a choice about the blade. Every single time we come back here, something has to be different.
How do we even get down there? The only thing I can see is that mirror.
You're right, the mirror is back. There isn't anywhere for us to go. But there isn't a mirror. I still don't get his angle here. Seems like whatever we do, he's always going to say it isn't there. He's either a liar, or he doesn't hold all the cards. But I think we already knew it had to be one of those. So, is the door to the basement behind the mirror? I promise you there isn't a mirror, and there isn't a door to the basement. The entrance is more of a burned-out frame than anything else, and it's right there on the far side of the room. Do you really not see it? You step forward and approach the scorched entryway leading to the basement, hesitating before you begin the descent. It went away when we touched it last time, not that this place always follows the same rules. You reach forward and wave your hand through the hollow entrance leading to the basement. You really thought there was a mirror there, didn't you? That can't be good. As if things weren't unpredictable enough. Figures. Well, seems like the only way to go is forward, isn't it? Yes, that's where everything tends to be. Let's just put on a good face and have our wits about us. You step through the frame of scorched wood and make your way into the darkness below. The stairs to the basement are covered in a fine layer of gritty ash. The air still feels warm, as if the fires that ruined this place had only recently been extinguished. Yet fresh shoots of thorny branches are already weaving themselves through the soot-covered earth of the walls around you. Their spines point courteously down towards the basement, so you're able to brush past their jagged points with ease, at least on the way down. But you don't need to think about the way back up just yet. That's a matter for after the world's been saved. I'd say this feels like a trap, but you practically said as much. Yet you still want us to keep going. They're only thorns. I'd say getting a few scratches in exchange for the lives of everyone in existence is a fair trade. I'm sure you'll manage. Her voice, worn down by pain and suspicion, hobbles up the stairs.
I can't get away from you, can I? We kill each other and you come back. You let me kill you and you come back. I don't know why you let me do that. I don't know what you want from me.
I just want to talk. Really talk.
I think you know how this goes. I'm down here and I can't leave. So come down and talk. It's not like I can stop you.
You continue down the basement stairs, brushing past the smooth edges of thorns that grow more and more plentiful as you make your way forward. You step out into what was once a vast open cavern, now overrun by briars and prickles and thistles, the space thick with hostile vegetation. At the heart of it all, encased in a tight weave of vines, is the princess, her bloody, trembling hands clutching a pristine blade.
Did you know this was going to happen to me? Are you here to watch me suffer? Are you here to laugh?
I'm not here to laugh. I'm here to free you, if you will let me.
I want to trust you.
Her grip tightens on the blade.
But you're hiding something, aren't you? Why would you help me if you weren't helping yourself?
Is there nothing I can say to change your mind?
I don't know. What can either of us really say at this point? How can we trust something as hollow as words?
She's right, there's nothing left to say. So let's get a move on and do something before she comes up with a scheme to get out of here on her own. Careful with that one. He's not the smooth negotiator he thinks he is. But it does feel like we're stuck until we do something. If there's even anything to do besides make things worse. We're not making things worse. I think she wants to trust us.
You're not the only one who yearns for freedom. I'm as trapped as you are. I think we need to live together.
The princess clutches the blade closer to her chest.
That sounds nice. I'm so tired of the bad blood between us. But it's hard to let it go. You've hurt me.
Her eyes dart away from yours for a brief moment.
And I've also hurt you.
Then maybe it's past time for either of us to say anything. All that counts is action.
You reach towards her bloodied hands, laying your palm on her trembling fingers. For a moment, she clutches it even tighter, her knuckles going white with the effort. But then the tension fades. Her grip finally loosens and she allows you to take the weapon. You carefully pull it free from the thorns, though they scrape at your skin, leaving red trickles of fresh blood all along your arms. I'll be damned! She really gave it to us! It feels like it's been so long since we've held real power in our hands. I wonder what we should do with it. We free her, obviously. It's the right thing to do. I think you're right. She's as much a victim in all of this as we've been. Besides, it would really stick it to him to free her. Or, hear me out, we slay her. Right here, right now. She's never been so helpless, and if we don't take advantage of that, we may never get another chance. That sounds like a splendid idea. You should listen to him. We've all said our piece. Now it's time to make our move. It's 2 against 1. It's 2 against 2. You don't count. And why shouldn't he count? Because he's clearly not one of us. That doesn't matter. He's been with us the whole time. He should get a say.
So, did you mean it? Or was I a fool to hand my life to you?
Yes, what a good idea. Let's cut her free. Oh, so you're suddenly team free her. You can't just switch sides as soon as we make a decision. I can do whatever I want, and I believe with my whole heart that this is the right course of action. Let's free this princess. Even if he'll stick a knife in our back as soon as he has the opportunity, it's still better to have him nominally on our side. At least that gets him to shut up for a while. See? We're all friends here, united in our actions and intentions. Yeah, united. But the other one has a point. If it keeps you quiet, sure, we're all friends. You take the blade to the thorny vines imprisoning the princess, and she flinches, relaxing only slightly as the blade slices into the thick vegetation rather than her arm. And she flinches again as the last of the vines is cut away, as if After all of that, she's still expecting you to turn on her and stab her in the heart. But you're not going to do that, are you? Still, all it would take is a single slip of the blade. Is that really all you've got, threatening us with an accidental misstep? I expected more from you. Our blade didn't even waver when he said that. Yeah, you're right, he's a bit of a nobody, isn't he? Good thing I've been on your side of all this since the beginning. The princess falls into your arms, tears streaking down her cheeks. I can't believe you're making me describe this. I hate you.
You actually meant it. You rescued me.
Of course I did.
She smiles, her hand slipping into yours, and the two of you rush to the basement stairs. Shameful, really, that the same thorns that so graciously allowed you downstairs are now blocking your only way out. You're getting desperate, aren't you? Even more proof that you can't actually do anything to stop us. We cut through those other vines just fine, they're only thorns. I'm not afraid of getting a few scrapes. I'm not even sure we need to do any cutting, we can just move them out of the way. What a pathetic showing, really.
A few pointy sticks can't keep us down here. We're both meant for so much more than this.
As you swing your blade into the thorns covering the basement stairs, they yield. Both you and the princess ascend the stairs without obstacle. This is unacceptable. The second you step out of this cabin with her, the world ends. Do you hear me? What did the world ever do to you to deserve this? It feels so good to hear you say that you're admitting you've lost and we've bested you at your own game at last. I don't care what happens now. That's all I've wanted. You and the princess hesitate at the cabin door. This is your last chance. We've already made our decision.
We're finally leaving here together, aren't we? And all we had to do was trust each other. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad we finally could.
Hands clasped, the two of you open the door and step out into a new day, you irredeemable murderers.
What do we do now? Where's everything going? Why is it so cold?
You do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's going to be okay. Just trust me. We've been here before, and you always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. It's going to do something to us. I can feel it. If they think it's bad, I'm with them.
It's not the end. Whatever's on the other side is going to be nice.
Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you. So, this is all going to work out. Finally, we're going places.
You approach the mirror. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave. But you need to see what's in it. You are nothing at all. But that isn't right. You can't be nothing. You refocus your gaze and then you see it. A figure. Faint and veiled in shadow. Just beyond the reflection. Are you me?
I think you know what I am.
A crack slides down the center of the mirror, splitting the image in the glass in two. And then another crack forms, and another, turning the mirror into jagged shards of broken glass. So, you're the narrator. I was wondering if I'd ever get to see you.
The narrator, yes. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help after all, an objective voice to guide your blade. But you were never supposed to see me.
I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far.
What are you? Are you something like me?
Oh, I'm nothing like you. I'm an echo, likely one of many. Somebody made you after all, and I'm what's left of him. Not that I'm the only one who can make that claim. I'm sure you've met many others like me.
Others like you? You've said something like that before. Has every narrator really been different?
Of course. That is by both necessity and design. This construct you're in exists in many places at once. Anytime you failed, anytime you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shut both your consciousness and hers into another world. But you'll be awake soon, and then it won't be able to work like that anymore.
Do you have anything to say for yourself? For all this hubris?
I do. The people out there are real. No matter what you do to them, no matter what you enable, I want you to remember that.
After everything you've done to us, do you think anyone deserves to live?
Nobody alive has done anything to you. I'm all gone. But if you and the princess want to smite the rest of them for the crimes of a dead man, if you really want to be that petty, there isn't much I can do to stop you.
Does it hurt when pieces of you break off like that?
It doesn't hurt. I don't feel pain. Not physically.
Every time I ask you something, it's like a piece of you breaks.
I'm aware. And if I were you, I'd be more precious about your time.
Are you a part of me, or are you something else?
No, I'm not a part of you. But that's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? From one vantage point I must seem wholly foreign, but from another, well, all the versions of me that have existed have collectively heard your every thought and driven your every action. If that isn't being part of you, then what is? Soon I'll be gone entirely, and you'll be left alone with your final choice. So allow me to make my final request. The princess contains death itself within her, but I wove you into being with all the power you need to destroy her forever. Do it. Slay her, and rid the world of death and suffering.
If you made me, then what am I?
You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death.
I'm not going to slay her, and I want you to know that before you die for good.
Well, there's no reasoning with a god, even one you've woven into existence yourself. I've said my piece, and my time is up. It's like I said, I'm just an echo, and echoes always fade away.
As the final fragment of glass shatters, you see yourself with newfound clarity. The narrator was right. You are the long quiet, a vast and nascent god, and it is finally time for you to wake up. All of this is you. When you arrive at the heart of things, there is no final vessel for you to bear witness to. There is nothing for you to find.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly.
I've missed you too. She unfurls an endless cascade of smiles in response, and then patiently waits for you to continue. Do you know about the echo? Did you hear our conversation?
Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind.
I am the long quiet, but I don't really know what that means.
Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured. They call me the shifting mound, a pale imitation of what I actually am.
What happens now?
Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echo spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?
There's so many stories we've left unfinished. Can we really just leave?
Even as your eyes begin to open, you still hold on to the notions of is and is not, of beginning and end, pitch black islands in the blinding light of the infinite. There is nothing to resolve, nothing restraining us but us.
Don't you have a say in all of this? Why is this all falling on me?
Of course I have a say in all of this. You and I share reflections of each other's burdens, just as you and I share reflections of each other's gifts. If we didn't, the winding paths that brought us here wouldn't have been full of strife and conflict.
Let's talk this through. I still have so many questions and I need answers before I can make a choice.
My very nature is paradox, as is yours. You cannot use words to grasp at things that are beyond their reach, and you cannot rationalize that which defies logic. But violence and passion are dances that both of us know well. If this is what it takes to enlighten you, then so be it. A thought is a vine, and some thoughts nurture thorns that bleed the soul, and endless growth that blots your vision and strangles your trust. When I succumbed to myself, you patiently stood by me and cut the thistles that rooted in my skin. Your compassion is what freed us both, but compassion is a thing that must be nurtured, and you cannot nurture that which cannot change.
Of course I helped you. I didn't want us to hate each other.
Then help me again. We are each other's liberation.
There are few things more terrifying than one's own heart, and there is almost nothing more terrifying than sharing it with another. But the most terrifying thing of all is to leave one's heart unshared. You are the only thing like me, and I am the only thing like you. Could you bear the weight of an eternity alone? Do you dare to shape a reality of solitude and thrust it on creation?
Thank you for sharing yourself with me.
I'm aware of what it did to you. The understanding you've returned to me is a gift.
You are devoured. Pray for something bigger than you that stalks and slinks in shadows. But even after the pain of defeat, you returned.
The dance is its own truth. It is the movement that matters, not the pause you mistake for an ending.
Would you have us fight forever?
I would have you realize that what you decry as suffering is beauty. But even as you stir to wakefulness, you cling to mortality that was never yours.
The sensation of bleeding and sweating and breaking and mending and dying and living comes back in vivid color. A past that is also present. A pain that is everything and yet nothing at all. You feel the shame of 100 deaths and the pride of 100 conquests. All of the peaks and valleys weaving themselves into a single tapestry, free of beginning and free of end. Do you remember when we killed each other with such fervent passion that death itself no longer sat on our shoulders?
It was unnecessary. We could have worked together to build something better.
But for us, that was better. For me, there was no better end. I lost myself in an artistry so profound that it lifted both of us into something greater.
You are weightless, suspended in the gravity of an idea that threatens to consume you. And you are alone. A tiny island caught between the death of the old world and the birth of the new. But alone is not helpless. When you were confronted with my vessel's apotheosis, you chose against all odds to defy me, to hold on to your inner self with all its flaws, even in the scorching light of my divinity. Without me, there are no externalities to resist, and it is struggle that carves meaning into consciousness.
You were consumed by your own ego.
And you shed your doubts to rise against me. It was only together that we were able to create something beautiful.
As the clash between you abates, you begin to shake, your will rapidly dissolving.
Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't. There is no constant. There is no center. Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together.
What do you think happens if we live here?
This universe dies, and a new one is born. And that one dies, and a new one is born. And you and I get to witness it all, weaving a tapestry of life wherever we go.
It's easy to believe in the things you believe in when you get to sit above it all.
It is from my vantage point that I can see the totality of truth.
I never wanted to fight you, but how can we live?
Nothing brings me greater joy than to hear those words. The final peace lies with you.
You fall into yourself. The body of an ancient creature stirs from its hibernation, and you feel sensation in limbs you once couldn't fathom. Everything here, except for her, is you. You feel your wings spanning a cosmic scale, but twisted and crumpled and bound in agonizing tension to a finite plane. You can feel the glass of the construct pressing in on you, confining you across infinite sides and infinite angles. You push back and strain against it. But it does not yield.
I love you.
All at once, the unyielding tension breaks. You are free, and she is with you.
It's magnificent.
There are no words, no thoughts to describe absolute reality. Something that simply is. What happens now?
Everything. Just like it always has been. And just like it always will be.
You and she step forward into 1,000 dawns and 1,000 sunsets, each of which contains 1,000 more. You exist, and you are aware, just as you have always been, and just as you will always be. Though conflict is in your nature, the two of you will never be alone, and the two of you will never know fear. You and she are finally